It's a simple case of great effort, but eventually the class gets you, but particularly the way they worked it in the second half.
Yeah. The class definitely came through in the end for them. I thought we pushed and pushed and pushed. Game was pretty even, and it was in the balance, but in a way, we actually got it to a point where we had some momentum, with maybe 7 odd minutes to go in that third quarter, and so the game was right where we wanted it. And then, as you mentioned, they went to another level. They took it to another level, and we didn't go with it.
So there's a critical moment, a double goal hinge moment.
Yep.
How do you deal with that in the sense that you want your guys to be combative, but you don't want them to go over the edge? So how are you going to deal with that one? Yeah,
the timing's critical on being combative, isn't it? There's no point being combative after the moment. It's too late. And it wasn't just that one moment. I mean, I think at that stage we might have they'd wrestled that momentum back, and that just basically put some fuel on the fire, unfortunately. But it was prior to that, there were moments where we weren't combative enough when they took it to another level, as you mentioned. I agree. They have an ability to take their game when needed, and they've done it all season. Disappointing for us because we, as I mentioned, we just pushed them and took the game where we wanted to. And in the end, when we get into the last quarter and we get 3 or 4 goals down, we're not here to lose by 3 or 4 goals. We're here to try and win a game of footy. So we open the game right up, try and take them on a bit with the ball, and that just, again, that's like pouring petrol on. They are a very good side.
So how do you unpack this? Because you're under siege, you get a response, and that start is you're getting a response. You're putting up something you can be proud of, that you're standing up against the pace setter, but then it doesn't end in a great way. So how do you unpack this so that you can make some great decisions from it?
Yeah, we get a chance now to sort of reset ourselves. We've been unpacking the last few weeks now on why. We now get a chance to reset a little bit. We've just played 14 games in a row. So we'll take a bye now, and we need it. Our guys are looking forward to that physical and mental break. This is our first look at it. Some have had 2 byes. I mean,
particularly the team you just played.
Yeah, they look quite fresh. So we'll take a chance to reset over that. We know where we need to be better, and it's consistency. Because you can see the level we can play at. And tonight we took a game where we needed to for a period of time, but it's not good enough to do it for 2.5 quarters.
Besides their class, what else did you identify as to how they were able to so quickly at the end of that third? There 6 goals in 12 minutes.
Yeah, the end of the third is probably the most disappointing part, and it's a hard one because the last quarter, as I mentioned, we opened it up and we played a way we hadn't played during the game. We wanted to try and win the game of footy. But the end of the third quarter is the most disappointing part, and it was contest. They just beat us to every 50-50 ball. They beat us on the ground, in the air. They beat us in the ruck. Centre bounce, again, something that we're going to get better.
You've harped on it for a little while now about the inability to stop opposition momentum. Why can't you fix it? You obviously identify it.
It comes back to those key moments we're talking about. Things we're getting wrong, and it's important we don't talk about one moment. Where a player does something after the play and they get another shot on goal. That's an example of it on steroids, where the focus is not where it needs to be, and we get punished for it. During that period you're talking about, they really did put us away in the contest, which has the ball in our back half, and Marty goes to work. He's on the end of their contest work and puts us away. I think he kicked 5 goals of the last 10. It's the area you're talking about.
You're confident you can address it?
Yeah, super confident we'll get it right. At the moment, I think we'll take the break, reset ourselves. Our goal now is to finish the season strongly.
You say beating the ruck, you feel that leaves you exposed to some more questions about why you're not playing O'Brien.
There's obviously going to be questions around why Rob is not in the team, and Kieran deserves his opportunity, and we're giving him that. He came up against arguably the best ruckman in the competition. Apologies to maybe Max Gawn, who's an outstanding ruckman as well. A great lesson. And again, we fought similar in that particular conversation, or that what I'm talking about there, the individual matchup. We fought right across the board with a number of matchups that were really tough. We had Max doing a job on Warner, and I thought he fought really well and hard through that. But when you drop off slightly in one area, it exposes the next and the next. And so what you see is the chain of handballs and the chain of super talent comes through, and it's nearly impossible to stop.
How have the players handled the extra scrutiny over the last couple of weeks?
Well, they've handled it well from what I can see, because inside the four walls, it's business as usual. We're working hard. We're working hard to be a better footy team. That's everybody. And I mention that each week. I guess the environment remains a positive environment, and we want to keep it that way. We believe, there are areas that are positive, but we also acknowledge and understand that we have to be a lot better. That doesn't mean we're going to drop our bundle and give up. As I said, the season has still got a fair way to go.
You said last week, post-game, the team sat in a pretty dark spot. How would you describe the feeling now they're going into the bye?
Yeah, again, context. I'm seeing their post-game, half an hour after a game, where we were at that moment feeling pretty down. It does get taken out and blown out of proportion that the club's in a duck spot. That's not at all what I'm saying. At that moment after a loss, we're all competitors and we hate losing. Similar to our supporter base that want to come and watch. They want to see a team win. They want to be entertained, but they want to see a team win. Well, most people were feeling pretty down at that point last week. So I'm just, obviously I've got to be really careful of the words I use, because they can be drawn out and used in different ways. But by no means are we in that position as a football club. We know the journey we're on and we're sticking to it. At this point in time, though, if you look at the last month of footy, we haven't been at the level we were earlier in the season.
Just on O'Brien, he was arguably the best player in your Sample side today. Do you look at bringing him in against GWS?
Yeah, we'll continue to look at what our best lineup is. Riley's working on a few things back there, and as I mentioned, Kieran's currently playing in the side. Could be an opportunity to look at two rucks. There are a lot of different things that are affected if you do go that way. But if Rob puts his hand up and says I'm ready to go, we'll make that decision.
We've talked a little bit about the negatives, but there were a lot of positives, especially in the first half. Do you just want to elaborate on them a little bit?
Yep, I'd love to talk through some positive stuff.
Defensively?
Look, I thought behind the ball we held up pretty strong, because they were dominating us inside 50 in that first quarter, but some of that was where the ball was coming from as well. Gave our defenders the best chance, and it was part of the plan going in. In the end, you don't play that way in the last quarter, as I mentioned, because you need to try to win the game. You got to score another 4 or 5 goals, but that was a really positive way. We started the game. I thought Max around the footy was a real positive early. I thought he had a crack there, but it's as I mentioned, it's no individual. When your team's playing the brand of footy we want to play, it's 18 guys that are doing it all at once. And we get to the end of the game and no one really knows who's best. Well, we could have got to halfway through that third quarter, and it would have been who's standing up. No one necessarily. It's the whole team. We didn't finish that way though.
Matthew, what you saw in the second half, are you clear on holding the ball? Or more confused?
I don't need to throw up any more controversy routes, do I?
Oh, it's a serious question, because we've been thrown around with what they call interpretation for 3 weeks. And that second half, I don't know about you, but I was confused at times.
Yep, the word confused is fair. But again, I'll come back to we all make mistakes. I'm assuming that there have been mistakes. because otherwise then I am extremely confused and I have no idea what the rules are. Is that fair?
Fair answer. So what are you learning about yourself at the moment? Because you talk about pressure of coaching and you can be pretty isolated in a losing streak. But what are you learning about yourself just right now?
That's a good question. I've learned that I've got a pretty good footy club looking after me at the moment. Yeah, that's one of the most positive things to come out of this. It's challenging, but I've got full backing of this footy club. I mentioned it during the week. John and Tim have been amazing for me. Our playing group have been incredible through this tough time. Like, we're sticking tight. So I hope that's a sign of the sort of human I am, that we're not going to give up. We're going to keep pushing through, and we actually feel like we are making progress this year. And it's dangerous to say that because our results don't show that, and we understand. And we understand the frustration. We have the same frustration, but we do know that we're heading in the right direction.
Are finals off the cards for you guys now?
There's still a long way to go in the season.
Just on Maxi, is that a move that we might see more of going into the back half of the season, playing a little bit more midfielder? I know obviously spent a bit of time there against Hawthorn as well.
Yeah, we really like the way Max plays his footy. He's a competitor. He's shown that behind the ball, that he's played on some of the best players in the game, as a defender. He continues to grow and add to his game, and so he has the ability to win one-on-one footballs, and we felt like, there was an important part to today that, Chad Warner's a very, very good footballer, and we felt like a little bit of attention there would help us. And as I said before, I thought it looked really strong for us for 2.5 quarters. We'll continue to look at Maxi in different roles for the team, maybe try and get him around the football a little more.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it, John. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.